pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, will you call roll?
Sikora?
Here.
Terenzi? Here. O'Donnell?
Here.
Dion?
Here.
Backus? Weaver? Here. Mayor Calendino?
Here. Missing one, but we do have a quorum. We have kind of a special night tonight. Mr. Diamond, if you could kind of take over for us.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today we are recognizing one of the DPW employees, Ricky Smith. Little something I wrote for him. So on behalf of myself and the entire team at the Department of Public Works, I'd like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Ricky Smith for his remarkable contributions over more than 26 years of dedicated service. His leadership, expertise, strong work ethic, and positive demeanor have played a crucial role in shaping the culture of our department and achieving significant accomplishments. While we will certainly miss his presence in the field, shop, and yard, we are enthusiastic about his new journey into retirement and wish him all the best during the well-deserved time off. Although my time with Ricky has been brief, I am personally thankful for the insights he has shared, which have greatly enhanced our department. His guidance on what should remain unchanged and where improvements could be made has been instrumental in shaping our current direction and future potential. Ricky's positive influence has created a lasting legacy that will continue to benefit us for many years ahead. The lift stations, the street lights, the Kodiak, and the Salt Dome, to name a few, will undoubtedly miss him more than he may miss them. Thank you once again for your steadfast commitment and dedication to the city of Utica and our department. We wish you a joyful and fulfilling retirement. And on this recognition says a certificate of appreciation, date of hire, October 6, 1998. Ricky Smith is hereby recognized for over 26 years of dedicated service to the city of Utica and its residents through the Department of Public Works. Retirement date is February 28th, 2025, signed by the mayor.
Come on up here, Ricky. Shake everybody's hand.
I need a hug. You ready to have it?
Congrats, sir.
Congratulations.
Can I say something? Thank you. I'd just like to say, having been on this side and Mr. Ricky on that side, he has driven us crazy sometimes. Okay? To the point, as much as I loved him, I hated him. But overall, it has been an incredible relationship. He is an extremely hard worker. He gave his heart and soul to this department. I can't wish him anything but the best of everything in your endeavors, because you gave us the best of everything. So, thank you.
Ricky, do you want to say anything?
I'm good. Just thank you for giving me the job that I've enjoyed thoroughly my entire career here, and that's the reason I gave so much.
Yeah.
I love this little city, even though it's not mine, but I've treated it like it was.
Yeah, it's kind of like yours.
It was. I guess if you ask a lot of guys, I didn't call it mine.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
All right, at this time, we'd like to open the floor for any public comments for items that are on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak? If you could just give us your name and address, sir.
Yes, my name is Paul Kahns. My address is 45814 Hecker. I've lived in the city of Utica for a little over 30 years. And I'd like to volunteer some services that the city might be able to use next year. I was going through the agenda, and I see that, first of all, I've been in computer maintenance and networking ever since I was in the Air Force in 1967, and after that, and then I had my own computer maintenance and networking company with 60 employees that we maintain computers, hundreds of customers, and I feel I can bring a little bit of experience from that to the city. I see that there's one of the items was presented was for the IT services budget for the coming year. And without knowing a lot of information about it, I'd like to, I had some questions about it. Phil, the treasurer, briefly gave me a rundown on it, but I still feel that I might be of a service for you the next time they're reviewing a company or not happy with the company that's doing the service and going over that. There's different parts of a contract that you need to look at and make sure you got everything covered so that all your computers and network and users are operating. So I decided that I might volunteer my services only if they have a review board to review those services the next time that comes up. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service, too. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? All right, moving on the agenda. Before we get into consent business, there are 2 changes we need to make. A couple items came in late. So I would like to add hearing officer budget amendment as item Roman numeral 5D/1. And I'd be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Terenzi. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. And add item election equipment budget amendment as Roman numeral 5E11A. Be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Deanne,
Support.
support by Terenzi. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. So then I would be looking for a motion to approve all consent business as amended.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Terenzi, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. There is no unfinished business or correspondence, so moving on to new business. Tonight on the agenda is Downtown Utica Social District, and is someone here to speak to that tonight? I'm thinking there is.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm one of the owners of Vina and Vibes Wine Bar.
And I'm Michael, I own Host Utica.
Yes, so we're here to propose designation of social district downtown Utica. Do I need to explain what exactly a social district means? Okay, so basically, the city of Utica will outline a certain area downtown that would be called social district, and what it gives us as businesses, as restaurant and bar owners, is the ability to sell alcohol in special to-go containers. It's it's a designated thing, and basically the customers would be able to leave the premises and drink alcohol outside. That would be really nice for events that we host downtown when we actually closed out the roads, or in any other day, honestly, as well. Like people would be able to walk from one place to another, go sit at the park. Obviously, they cannot drive with those containers and stuff like that. And there's a list of things that the city has to do in order for this to happen. So we are here to, propose this thing.
So you guys have the slide deck that I
We
sent
do,
over?
yeah. So it's in the packet.
It basically lays it all out,
The steps,
and the steps of what has to go forward to happen. So,
Is the mic on, folks?
I don't know. Hello?
I think can you get closer to the mic? Mike?
so the slide deck lays out, the steps that would be necessary in order to move forward with this process. We outlined what we believe would be the appropriate, limits for the social district, obviously Memorial Park being the common area. In order to move forward, the city would have to apply for this through the state. Upon approval from the state, us as the business owners would have to get approval from the city to be a part of the social district. And then we would have to get that added to our liquor license.
Which we all renew simultaneously in April. So if we could resolve this and get it started now, potentially in April, we could all add to our liquor licenses. And which is a good thing, I guess, for the city is that I think it's completely free for the city to apply with MOCC. The only thing is, I think we're just paying a small additional fee for that towards our liquor license.
And the goal of this is to create a more enjoyable, walkable downtown Utica. And something I laid out in there that is a possibility, some of these storefronts that aren't being utilized in the evenings or on the weekends, we would solicit them to see if they would allow for some pop-up retail shops in the meantime, so that guests of downtown Utica could stroll and have a beverage and pop in these pop-up shops to create a more little vibrant downtown that people want to enjoy. So
There's a few of these cities in Macomb County, let alone, Oakland County and such.
St. Shores, New Baltimore, Richmond,
Romeo, I believe.
Macomb County, that's Macomb County, Royal Oak does it in Oakland. So it's not something, or Mount Clemens is the closest one to us that does it.
And we need just 2 licensed, retailers, so to say, to start this district, but I think we have about 4 of us on board.
Yeah, Mr. Miguel's, Paul from Steampunk.
Steve is here to support.
And then, and I imagine the remaining ones in the downtown district will hop on as well.
Any questions from council? First, congratulations to both of you for your Hour Magazine nominations for Best of Detroit.
How do you know?
I posted it, I've already voted, so everyone follow suit. There's a few other Utica businesses as well. Shamrock, the toy store, who am I missing? There was a few.
We just focused on the restaurant board.
I see you're asking for year-round.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to keep it consistent so it's not confusing for the public. Ideally start on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, and then,
I mean,
if it all goes well, we can extend it into further weeks.
I don't mind for it to be throughout the whole week, because, I mean, sometimes we do have, I want to say, certain events on Wednesdays. Don't we have something sometimes, like randomly during the week? So I don't see why we would restrict us to just Friday and Saturday, frankly.
Would it be supernatural?
Chief of Police might have some reasons, I'm guessing. Go ahead, Chief.
I guess, in looking at it just with the times and stuff, I would think maybe scaling it down a little bit would be a little bit better than to try and open it up, just so we can figure out from a law enforcement, how do we make sure that people are abiding by the social district and not getting in their cars and taking it down, and how we have to staff for this sort of thing.
Well, we propose you guys get a horse, so you guys can ride a horse.
Can we start with a bike, maybe?
I mean, technically, these day and age, ever since COVID, we are allowed to sell alcohol to go regardless. We just sell it in a sealed container, in plastic cup or whatever cup. So it happens anyway. I don't know if you know that. People just cannot open it, obviously, in the car until they get to their point B.
Well, there is a big difference of open consumption and carrying it, because I can go to Meijer and carry it to my car and I can't drink in their parking lot.
Right.
I am concerned about opening it for the whole year, just because, okay, we've experienced some ice and rain, and rain is one thing, but let's say it's the wintertime and the streets are icy. People that have maybe had a cocktail or two are subject, maybe, to slipping and falling. And if it's on a public street, then all of a sudden the city is apt more than in the summertime or fall, spring. I just think the wintertime itself is a bad time to do this. Really, our big event is the Christmas tree lighting, and in the past when we had the ice carving festival. Other than that, we don't have a lot of events down here. But spring to end of fall is a great time. I just think when bad weather sets in, the city is setting themselves up for a fall.
See, I might argue that the best time to fall is after a couple of drinks.
Right.
But seriously though, I mean, I understand Mr. Sikora's rationale, but I think we get bad weather throughout the year. I don't necessarily agree. I do respect that opinion, but for me, I think given any opportunity for these businesses to succeed, 365 days a year, to me, is a win for the city of Utica. And the idea that they can give pop-up shops opportunity to open up brings more people in the city. So I'm actually in favor of making it a broad, a little more broad, quite honestly. And I have been to places like Savannah, for example. If you ever traveled through Savannah, you can go from place to place to place with your adult beverage, and they do great commerce there. People go to Savannah to visit the city because they have such open airspace markets and places to take your beverage from spot to spot. Food tours are fantastic. So I know St. Clair Shores does it. It's wildly popular there when they shut down the area right off Mack. So
They only do it twice a month, I believe. They don't do it every weekend.
sure, but they don't have, their downtown is manufactured. Ours is organic.
Well, Mack Avenue is not a manufactured area.
No, but they close it down is what they do.
Understood, but it's not a manufactured area. It is a
No,
lot
I'm
of
saying
shops, a lot of bars,
the
a lot
downtown
of
is-
restaurants.
Yeah, we're captive though. I mean, our traffic flow is not 35 miles per hour through here. It's 25 miles per hour. It's not Van Dyke. It's not Hall Road. I would say that Utica's more quaint. We got our crosswalks in place. I think Utica's a safe place for responsible people to come and have an adult beverage and journey from location to location while enjoying the city.
That I will agree with, but Savannah, Georgia is not Utica, Michigan. Climate and times of year are night and day. I went to Savannah when my son ran a marathon down there. Great town, great party, had a lot of fun. But in the wintertime, they're not slipping and falling on ice. We are. So I'm just concerned if you can get it down to 7 months, 8 months, something, the bad weather months, I just think we're setting ourselves up. And at the same time, as Chief Klusny said, we're starting off a little smaller. Why? And yet, 8 or 9 months is not small. I agree that I personally don't think it should be every day of the week to start with. But,
Sidewalks are the responsibility of the building owners, so I've been told.
but you know what they are, but when they slip and fall, we still get involved. So,
I lean more toward Councilman Dion. I think that frankly, there needs to be more things to do in the winter to begin with. This expectation that everybody just goes into their house for 4, 5, 6 months and nothing else happens is silly. I think this is a great way to get people out and about. Easy way to ward off the cold is a couple drinks. So I actually like this proposal as presented.
And we hope by adding this type of environment that there will be promotion, more activity to do during the cold months. We could bring back the Fire and Ice Festival or, other sidewalk type events that could draw people out of their homes in the wintertime, so, no one deals with that seasonal depression.
I had a meeting with a promoter who does cornhole events, and he didn't know that this was going to be on the agenda tonight. He was talking about some other things, and I brought it up to him, and he was very excited. He runs events in other cities, and he was all on board for it.
Yeah, I actually have to go to cornhole in about 10 minutes, so that's.
And we better talk quick.
And Mr. Mayor, not to cut you off, I apologize, and not to cut you off, but I did have a talk with Steve, the proprietor of Mr. Miguel's, and just in passing talk, he said that this is the actual slow time for his business, right? If I'm not mistaken, and you pick up around April and it starts to pick up then. These are the slow times. If we're gonna ask people to come to Utica and spend their money here, and we're gonna ask business owners to keep staying here, because we don't like it when they close their doors. We got a business that sits on the corner of Cass and Auburn that's been vacant for 5 years now, and they refuse. So I'm more for keeping businesses open, whatever it takes to give our business partners in Utica the extra leverage to make their business successful is where I'm at.
I'm not, and the reason I'm not is that I would like to see us start small, and then if it, it goes really well, like maybe start April through October, similar to what Mr. Sikora said, rather than jumping in with all 4 feet, let's test the waters. Let's see how it's gonna work. Is it going to bring more people to Utica? And as we're saying this is my mind, and granted, I'm a lot older than almost everybody here, but what is going to bring people to Utica in the winter, because they can go from establishment to establishment? If we don't have the activities in the winter and we don't have the ice festival any longer, is there really and truly going to be more business because we've opened up this social district? I would like to see it tried out first. I am not opposed to it at all. I think it's great. But do we really want to start, boom, let's do it forever, let's do it all year? Let's try it out and see, and then if it's good, then we can make a change. We can always add. We can always add to things.
Well, that was something one second.
Yeah, no.
That was something I was gonna ask them. I don't know if you guys have gotten into that detail with the state. If we started
did.
small, as it's being suggested here,
So whatever we do, we just have to inform them at the very beginning, the hours, the season, whatever. And then if we bring any changes, even to the map, let's say, we made it a little bigger or a little smaller, they still need to be informed. Other than that, it's not a problem.
but it's not a long process to say,
No.
if we started, say, May to, and I'm just hypothetically, if we started now, May to October, and we get into the summer and it's a huge hit, and we get feedback that, hey, we want, you guys tell us, or the patrons tell us, this is really great, we'd like to continue it through the winter. If we get that feedback, it's not a super involved process to extend longer? Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. I think it's not.
So there's
a
really no
big deal.
downside to starting small, seeing how it goes.
Yeah. However, I would like to say that I've been here in America, in Michigan particularly, for 6 years, and I've seen snow around Christmas for the first time where it actually sticks and stays. This is the first time that the winter is like here and present. So I don't know if October is a good mark. Maybe just stop for December and January, because then the snow is just gone.
I think at this point, the winter season is moot. It's not going to affect us. You can't start till this is all filed, and you were talking about April. So if we consider April 1st through October 31st, if things are booming and you get a great response from your public, you come back to us in September and say, hey, look, this is where we want to go. Right now, the winter doesn't affect us, but I'd like to see where it goes. And then again, it's this idea, we can always make it bigger. You're going to be really mad if we make it smaller. You'll be very happy if we make it bigger. So,
You have to go up there.
Yeah, I concur with you, Mr. Sikora. And I like Ms. Trenzi's explanation of it, too.
Just a quick comment for me, having been here since April, but winter here compared to spring, summer, it's a ghost town. So to me, and I'm an opportunist and look at opportunity, this would be a great catalyst to do things here in the winter. And so even if the mindset of starting small and then opening it up, my experience as a business owner is once you establish that precedent, it's hard to say, oh, we're gonna add winter next winter. When you start strong, it has a much more tendency to stick. So that's just my feedback. I think it's more important for winter. Of course, it's gonna help with the summer and people going to the games, coming downtown. I think the opportunity's bigger for winter, for businesses and the city. Because I think it could be the catalyst for other things to come into the city, customers to come in, events to establish, so it could be that starting point rather than looking at it the other way of bringing events and then starting a social district. So I think it's a good catalyst. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
I mean, if we establish it now and then we agree to meet, in August to kind of get like a, how's it going type feeling. And then the public doesn't have to know that it may or may not stop, you know, in September. Cause we could agree to proceed forward through the winter, at a decision in the August, September timeframe.
So I've been asked to look into this issue before, and what other cities have done is they've actually developed a committee for the social district that was run by the restaurants or bars who did the legwork and put together whatever ordinances or approval from the state. I'm not really sure what that consists of. And bars and restaurants in this city were advised to do that 2-3 years ago, I think, and to bring that to council for approval, and we've never seen that.
That's the purpose of this.
They did do it. I mean,
Okay.
they've got a pretty detailed, and unfortunately, we can't share it with everyone, but in the packet, it's a very nice
In order to even get
presentation.
this started, the city has to fill out an application, be submitted to the state. We provide all the details, but the city has to take the first step in order to
Create a
proceed forward.
resolution that will be sent to MOCC.
So is there, and I don't have that in front of me right now, is there a resolution in there for us to be voting on today?
It's,
No.
it's in one of the links that I've been sending to Gus, but it's online, it's really easy to find it. It's a small form for MOCC.
The link's in the slide deck, so.
I have a question. Because you guys are the committee, have you thought of things on your own to promote, like, let's just say, we said, okay, we're gonna do it through the end of the year, we'll do it through December 31st. Have you come up with things to promote
Yes.
and can you explain what they
Yeah.
are?
So even from doing research, what we have seen that, well, unfortunately, I guess not everybody can see the slides, but, so there will be signs around the whole perimeter of, social district. And what I was trying to explain, that we could create a QR code, which people can scan and, you know, kind of learn more about it, because it's like simply they'll see it, they'll just see the sign, for instance. Then, there will be designated cups, with establishment's name, the place that sold this drink. And we kind of would like to, maybe on those signs, put a link to social media, you know, like, basically the people would take pictures with those cups, like where I am right now, and, you know, would go online and kind of spread. So that's one of those things. And obviously, we as business owners, I'm sure we will use our social media as well, and just say that, hey, right now you can actually, you know, do this and this and that in downtown Utica, feel free to come in and get yourself something.
I guess what I got from your question, correct me if I'm wrong, is what events are you willing to start and you willing to sponsor? Not saying the city has to do it.
Events.
Events,
Something, yeah,
something.
something to
Suggest
bring-
something, you
Thank you.
want people to come here, but you want the city to sponsor all the events. Okay, that's what's always happened in the past, nothing with you guys. But when it was brought to us, it's always, what are you gonna do for us? Now, there's a certain amount the city can do for you, but I also am a business owner, and I survive because what am I gonna do for me? Okay? What am I going to do to make sure people come to my store and buy my products? So this is the thing, is are you willing to get together with the other business owners and headway a ice carving festival? Or something in the spring, something to get people down here to begin with. Not saying the city has to do it, but what are you going to, or in conjunction with us? Because we want you to be successful and we will help that, but it still comes down to, you have to be the forerunner to it, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned a few ideas that we have in mind to, I guess, launch this to make it, successful. Obviously, we haven't gone full throttle with those because we don't know if this is coming to fruition or not.
But you have something, well, I mean, you have something that you're thinking about that you're going to sponsor.
I'm a
plan-
man that thinks outside the box. If you look at all my social media
Yes,
stuff and stuff
we
we've
know.
done, we'll make it happen. And,
Okay,
we have,
We have huge following,
We have
all of
quite a
us,
prominent
three put
following.
together.
we'll create a separate social media, pages for the social district itself to, draw attention to. So, I believe we have the correct people in this room that could, to make, this quite the success. And bring the appropriate events to downtown Utica.
In full disclosure, we met, what, 3 Saturdays ago, I think? Just to have a preliminary conversation about, how can we get this to council tonight? A lot of ideas were thrown around. I remember I had a concern, and I don't remember if we answered it. We have a couple events in the summer where the organization that's sponsoring it pulls a license with the state to sell alcohol.
Yeah.
And I think that will, I don't remember exactly what we determined, but I think that will impact,
The social district can't extend to where they take up their space.
can we temporarily, can we like on one day say social district is
Paul-
limited?
Paul
It's,
laid
you
that out.
don't have
where-
to do all that, actually. You just have to line out, like, basically, we will have our designated area and they will have their designated area. So both can still coexist.
Can their designated area exist within inside yours?
No, apparently not.
Okay.
So let's say they would have their tent or a certain area and,
Just outside the perimeter?
and we would have our contiguous.
But could we limit it and have days of exception, that they would not be able to operate because we are operating?
Like, for instance, our Halloween, or Nightmare in Auburn.
Right.
Last year, Connect Macomb, who was the sponsor, they did all the heavy lifting. They pulled a permit to sell alcohol in the fire department area over there. Could we carve out that area in the future?
I recall in our conversation that Paul, was reading language that stated that.
Right here, if
that's-
you want to read it out loud. So the local unit of government. shall deem-
So the nonprofit organization requests a special license for location within a social district common area. The governing body of the local unit of government shall delineate the portion of the common area to be utilized exclusively by the special licensee, and a portion of the common area is to be used exclusively by the social district. So yes, they can be within the social district, but you would have to delineate this area is social district, this area is the nonprofit.
going to assume that if that were to happen, the people that are buying drinks in that area by the fire would have to stay within the bounds. They're not then going out into the social.
Well, it sounds like we could say Brownell is the cutoff. And if you're, you can't take Connect Macomb containers past Brownell, or whatever we all decided on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For that day only, for those events only.
Okay.
And of course, then the police have a conundrum to try to enforce those types of limitations.
And I really need to see whatever resolution, applications, whatever it is that you're asking the city to send to the state, I need to see and review those.
I'll be happy to send you links if I have your email.
Okay.
They're
I'll
in
send
the
it to you.
slide deck. The link's in the slide deck.
And I'm just seeing the pictures and I'm looking at in the agenda packet and I don't,
If Mary Gus can forward you the slide deck, it has the
yeah.
link. in
I
it.
think you have my email, correct?
Yeah.
If you want to share it with
Yeah,
your
no
group.
problem.
Well, hopefully besides you two here, other businesses and bar owners and restaurant owners are going to help and get involved as opposed to going on your coattails.
I'm known for being the leader, and I'm
Okay.
being the trendsetter, and everybody wants to join after the fact, so.
Okay.
Not a problem.
I like the idea, Mike, that you said, let's meet. I'm thinking not in August, but meet when the music in the park is done, and reassess. Like say, let's do it from here until the end of then, and then reassess and say, okay, do we want to go forward?
Yeah, like you mentioned, the winter is not a factor this year anyway, so, it's gonna launch in the spring if we all move forward. And then we can say, hey, this is going well, let's keep on extending it through the winter time.
Okay.
I think you have my cell phone number too, do you?
I'll have to double check.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Chief?
Just a question, so if this does go through with the social district, as far as like, you know, a typical Friday and Saturday, we really wouldn't have to worry about extra staffing, I mean, but if you're trying to hold an event and it's something that you're not really closing down the roadways, is that something that's gonna have to come to council for approval to, you know?
Anything, I would say, and maybe Ms. McGrail could chime in, anything that's scheduled to be held on public property would have to get city council approval, so they'd have to be at
Well,
least a month in advance.
The parks actually, I believe, require approval of the Parks and
Yeah.
Recs Commission, and that's all you need for, so like the park, the Veterans Memorial Park, or, that would just require approval of Parks and Recs.
Well, say they wanted to, and I'm just hypothetically saying, the city parking lot next to Steampunk. If they wanted to hold a art exhibition there or something,
Right.
you would have to get approval from council, I believe.
We're not looking to shut down roads, is that what you're asking?
Well, not so much shut down roads, I guess what I'm trying to make sure is that we don't have an influx of people here that are all gonna be downtown drinking, walking around, and we're not staffed because we kinda don't know what's going on. You know, some type of notice, and or if it comes to where now we gotta staff somebody downtown to make sure that, you know,
Understandable.
everything is under order and people are responsible down there and stuff, so that's kinda the parameters, I just wanted to make sure gets covered.
Well, I think we would know, you know, if they were holding some big special event, they wouldn't be holding it inside their store, because they can't, somebody that's buying social district beverage at Host can't walk into Vino and Vibe, right? That's part of what the social district rules are. So I'm guessing you would be wanting to hold events in public spaces on city property, right?
Yeah, sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, Mayor Gus's house, stuff like that.
Is he in the map? Did you make sure he's in the map?
It got captured.
Just another question with the, like, regards to the signage and stuff, who's funding the signage for the social district?
That would come from the city.
I'm assuming that would be from the city.
Okay.
Cups, I think we talked at our little impromptu
So
meeting.
we would buy the cups, we would buy the stickers that go on the cups. Each business would have a sign on the window with 3 different things. One, we sell social district beverages. One, we allow it in our storefront if they're not a seller. Or another one that says we don't participate at all, so.
Like library or city hall, for instance, like drinks are not allowed, there will be certain sticker for that. So 3 different stickers.
Yeah, and that's in
Never coming here.
stickers.
And we have examples in the, yeah, just like drinks allowed, social district of Utica, drinks are sold here, drinks are not allowed, that's it. It's
So,
pretty-
question, if you sold me a drink with your cup, can I go into your place with that
You
cup?
cannot enter, no.
No, so,
You can't
So
enter
only
another
common
liquor
area,
license.
common
you can
area.
only go into a common public space,
Or.
or go buy a
if pop-
drink from her.
Or if we have a pop-up shop at, you know, Hogs Hollow, you can
Okay.
go in there. and-
That doesn't have a doesn't have a liquor
Okay.
license and is not
Like
participating.
Rosita's, for instance, I would assume that they would allow outside drinks,
Right.
because they don't sell them themselves and it doesn't hurt them, but then there's other places where it's just not appropriate, you know.
Yes.
My concerns, obviously, was a good question from the chief about signs and insulation. That would probably be DPW. The trash, the garbage cans that we have down town will not, you know, help with, you know, we need to purchase something new. And then who's going to be emptying them, you know, when they do it. You know, if it's a Friday night, Saturday night, we don't work Saturday or Sunday. So that'll be overtime, you know, depending on how it is, if that's how it goes, or if it's gonna be, obviously, the businesses are responsible for their frontage. But you know how things go, so.
Right.
So you list several other cities in the area that are doing this. Have you reached out to them to see who is paying for that?
Paying for what?
The extra DPW assistance, police assistance, anything else that's needed because of the program?
I haven't, but I would assume it's the city and not the businesses.
Don't assume.
You know what they say about that word, right?
What I would hate to see is this incurs a large expense on, for police coverage, for DPW. I know when we have busy times in the parks on the weekend, when we have a lot of pavilion rentals, the pavilions get trashed, and, we have to call in DPW on overtime to handle that. So I think that definitely needs to be part of the plan, like how are we gonna mitigate? If you have a great social district night on a Friday, we don't have DPW coming in on schedule until early Monday morning. I would think we'd wanna hold the businesses responsible to make sure when social district's done, that the area is somewhat, clean. I don't mean get out there and sweep, but we don't want loose garbage blowing around in the city either.
I mean, we usually pick up trash in front of our
Yeah, I mean,
bars and restaurants,
we already
so,
have loose garbage in front of our building, we sweep and clean it up ourselves, so it'd be nothing new for us.
and we know it's not even our customers who do.
What's that?
It usually appears after closing hours, so it's not
Right.
our customers doing that.
They're solo cups, by the way, so someone's opened it and drinking anyways.
And it's
So we'll
actually
make sure
probably
that
going
the
to be,
garbage cans are in front of your business.
I mean, respectfully, I don't ever see the garbage cans to capacity on the main downtown area. I don't think anyone even uses it half the time.
But
I
we
think
won't.
that's very needed.
I,
But that's probably one of the things that should be included in the maintenance plan that I'm also still going to see, maybe, I'm not sure. But that was actually one of my things to bring up, to that we might need more trash cans. And
That's
maybe
good.
benches in commons area, just for people to hang out in warm season, because I wish we had a little more retail going on, or, stuff like to bounce from place to place. But at least if people had like little benches, that would be great. And again, it's visibility, people see other people hanging out, and, brings more people. That's right.
I mean, I think if the ultimate goal of the city and the business owner is to see a more vibrant downtown, it's gonna take effort on both parts, and it's gonna take finances on both parts, so.
It is, but we have a whole city to run, not just the downtown. We get criticism when we, when people in the residential areas of the city think we're putting too much financial focus on the downtown, they feel neglect, we have to make sure that we're, being responsible with what we budget and spreading across the entire city, not just downtown.
A more vibrant downtown creates higher property values, which is equity in their houses, so, it's a win for them as well, and a win for the city if they sell their houses too, so. It's more property tax revenue for you guys after it comes uncapped. And their houses,
Our budget sessions are gonna be, we're having a big budget meeting. I don't have the date in front of me, but
It's Tuesday the 6th.
is it the 6th, March 6th? So you're catching us at a good time, because we're gonna have to decide, how much we're gonna budget for. It's not, our budgets are determined a year in advance, basically, right? Our budget goes from July 1st to the end of June. So if we're gonna allocate any money to this, we have to know basically what it is and do that during our budget time.
I think if we educate the local community that this is to help all of Utica, and not just the downtown vicinity, but, it's gonna be a win for everybody. For the
Our residents are pretty educated. I
didn't
don't know,
mean-
but.
I didn't mean educate like, what I'm talking about. I'm just saying like, everybody's gonna win. You'll hopefully create a more vibrant downtown that, like I've expressed in previous meetings, that these current building owners that underutilize and don't use their buildings at all will maybe sell or put something in the space that, creates more foot traffic for the city. So, I think we're encouraging that and starting to see more of that, and then we hope to believe that, that continues as well.
I'm very excited for the idea. I think there's details you have to work out with Ms. McGrail. And I think there's things of who pays for what. You need to talk to somebody, it might be Parks and Rec in Mount Clemens or St. Clair Shores, and get some of the details from them of what they do, okay? Just to help us to see what they do. So we're not reinventing the wheel. They've had them long enough to have fixed problems that have come up. So it's nice to be educated by people that have done it already. So it's a little bit more, I think, homework on yours. I think it's all within the time constraint. But these documents, whatever we have to send with the state, you're gonna have to have that, through our attorney. But other than that, I think I'd be fine saying, okay, it comes from whatever the earliest start date we can have, if it's April, 1st through October 31st, and we meet in August and say, okay, how's it going? Is it worth your effort? What do we need to do? What might be something that you're considering to say, okay, in January, how are we gonna get some more people down? You'll be fine with the Christmas tree lighting. That's a huge event down here, but it's almost gonna be, you're gonna need one event per winter, per month, that, whether it's just the city, or the city and you, or just you, that has to be advertised and get people down here, so.
And I think you need an event for the kickoff. I mean, we're starting this on, April, whatever, 4th, I think it is that weekend. You need something to get people excited to come down. And I know that you have your QR codes and you're gonna be on social media, but people wanna come down and see something. I don't know what that would be, but I think that would be very helpful to have an event like a kickoff.
Agree?
I think between four of us, Paul is not here today, but we can make up something.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
So what can we officially, legally do, say, before it's researched with you?
Well, they're supposed to provide me with information, and then I
Okay.
can check what it is that we need to submit. So, I mean, nothing for today's purposes, other than I think they got a feel for where you stand on it. And then, don't get it to me the Monday before our meeting. The sooner you get it to me, the better. And then whatever resolution, application, everything that needs to be approved by the city can be on the agenda for next month to actually be approved.
And it sounds like there's still some deliberation that needs to take place about how long, year-round, or a set number of months. So I'm guessing that could be part of the deliberation and the vote
Correct.
hopefully
Correct.
next month, right?
Correct.
So I don't think we have anything to actually make a motion tonight. It sounds like you folks and Ms. McGrail will work together, get her all the information she needs, review it, and hopefully we can have that all wrapped up by next month. Including like a draft of the resolution, so we have that in our packet to see what we're actually voting on. I think that seems to be the best plan.
Do you know what the turnaround time is with the state? No?
I believe they told me it's a pretty easy process.
Okay.
So I don't assume it's
So
more
maybe
than
a
a
month.
few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of interest, I think,
Yeah,
without taking a vote, it seems like council likes the idea. I think, we want to do everything we can to support our downtown businesses, that. We just want to make sure we're doing this the right way.
And that you succeed. We want you to succeed.
Thank you. We do too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily for our, we'll get extra business out of it, but it's not just for our gain, it's for the gain of the entire city of Utica and the downtown specifically. So.
Yep.
I'm under the impression that very progressive cities get this done, not
Okay.
like cities where there's nothing to do and people don't want to go there, So why not join the cool kids club?
The cool kids.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we
Good
can
job.
get something done next month.
good luck at Cornhole.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is Hanson's Running Shop 33rd Annual Bill Roney Memorial 5K Run and Walk. If you could give us your name and address, sir.
My name's Bob Buscourt. I'm representing Hanson's Running Shop, 8409 Hull Road here in Utica. This will be our 27th edition of this event. in Utica since it moved from Sterling Heights in 1996. If you did the math, that'd be 1 year off, but we didn't do it in 2020, as a lot of things didn't happen. So we're proud that we can bring this March early spring tradition to Utica. The turnout is usually right around 400 people. It sure would be nice to have a day that's warmer than 45 and not windy or raining, but that seemed to not happen these last couple of years. But Keith and Kevin Hansen have been in the running community for a long time, and so we get people travel just to say hi and, just kind of join them in, just celebrating the sport of running and, all that entails. You guys have the maps. We proposed that. The route has not changed since we brought the event here to Utica. We have volunteers on every intersection possible. We tell the people that it is not a closed course, that roads are indeed open. We need to be respectful of our neighbors. But just people trying to navigate through the subdivision, when they see a volunteer standing, every intersection, we just tell them, there's an event going on. Just be respectful, be careful. We put out letters to all of the residents influenced by the course, specifically saying what time the event starts, what time we wrap it up. So if you want to leave out, if you're close to the start, you might want to leave by 9:30. But as the event goes on, the congestion gets a little less as people spread out. So it's never really been hard for people to maneuver, just because a lot of these streets aren't through streets, and so they're not super busy. But we do know Vancouver, especially with the light being installed, it can be one of the the ones that we have to deal with the most. So we try to put the most experienced volunteers, course marshals along Vancouver, knowing that that's the one that's going to get the most traffic.
And I'm sorry, did you say you're going to send notification to the residents on the course?
Yeah, everyone that lives on the route gets a notification of the event. We usually put that out about a week before the event. We don't like to do it much sooner, so it's still kind of fresh. But we usually start putting out the flyers that Thursday, Friday, a week before the event takes place.
And what day is the Lucky Leprechaun? Does it conflict?
No, the week before.
I believe that's the 15th.
Chief Klusny, do you have any concerns? I think we've done this in the past without.
Yeah, no, we don't have
issues.
any concerns. They run a real nice event.
We do shut down Grant Park from Hull Road to Summers just because the finish line being right on Grant Park, a lot of people are standing around taking photos of their family members that are finishing. It's not like we don't put up barricades. We just put cones across the road. We do that usually at 9:30, and then as soon as the last person finishes, we pick up the cones. And when people just see like the amount of people standing around, they usually want to avoid the area anyway.
And you've done that in the past
Yep.
as well?
And then we put out a memo to all the participants basically saying, don't park at Fireside, be respectful of the funeral home. We usually know the day before if there's going to be someone, as far as visitations and that sort of thing. So we kind of lay out a nice map of, where the primary parking is, which is at Trinity Lutheran, and then overflow parking if need be. And there's a funeral, we would send them to Flickinger Elementary, but we really haven't had to do that just because the parking lots at Trinity Lutheran are so vast. And with the race starting at Trinity Lutheran, it makes more sense for them to park at the start.
Mr. Mayor, sir, I'd make a motion to approve the request as presented to include the closure of Grant Park between Hall Road and Summers.
Motion by Dion,
So moved.
support by Sikora. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank
Let's
you.
pray for warm weather.
Next on the agenda is the zoning ordinance for donation bins. I don't know if we have the gentleman here tonight. Doesn't look like it. A little background on this, they came to Planning Commission. We've had, Mr. Hicks has had some situations in the city with companies that are running really for-profit, but kind of masquerading as 501c3s, leaving these large bins for donations without getting property owner approval. there's been situations where Jerry has found a mess around them, where the bin has overflowed, they weren't taking care of it. When he's tried to contact them, it was, phone numbers that weren't really phone numbers. So he's had situations that were a scam. When we talked about just banning donation bins entirely, we were notified from Amanda in planning and Ms. McGrill, our city attorney, that that there's legal precedent that you can't do that there's First Amendment considerations with legitimate charities that are trying to use these bins, as long as that they have proper property owner approval. So they worked hard. I think they went through several drafts. What you have tonight is kind of the final draft. Planning, I believe, unanimously approved this with a couple minor changes that have been included. And planning chairperson Dominic Payon had a couple additional ones that were added very recently, I believe today. But the final version in your updated packet, the updated one, is what is considered to be the final. Did I miss anything?
No, just the last minute ad just pertained to, allowing the city to charge a fee if the owner of the donation bin was in violation and refused to remove the bin within a timely manner that was set forth by the city would have the authority to collect the bin and then charge the property owner or the bin owner for that cost. So that was suggested by, Dominic, and is written in there, which, I didn't know if you had a chance to look at that wording.
I have not been given that wording to review yet or not.
So that was the only addition.
And, we have our civil infraction ordinance too, so I would want more of an opportunity to look at it and determine if that should be included in our civil enforcement ordinance or.
Mr. Mayor and Council, the other thing we talked about for fee.
Can you grab the mic?
No, sorry. Mr. Mayor and Council, the other thing we talked about, obviously you folks have to set the fees. A recommendation, I talked with Mr. Diamond. So if everything looks good and after the attorney takes a look at everything to see if everything's in line, we were thinking a $50 fee per bin. If the city has to pick it up, then they would charge man-hour, equipment, whatever's needed. Sometimes they're bigger bins, they may have to take a tractor or something like that, a trailer or whatever. So they would charge man-hour plus,
So the way this reads, the city is only able to charge a fee for the, quote, storage of the container that will be based on the time it is in the city's possession. There's no reference in here to manpower.
okay, then I think we need to change that, because if they gotta be charged something for our guys to go pick all this stuff up if they don't do what they're supposed to do. Is what we were thinking, okay? So if we need to add that, then maybe it needs to go back to the drawing board.
Well, I think the way the ordinance reads is that that's to be determined by city council.
Well, no, it says, as well as a fee established by the city, and then here, quote, for the storage of the container that will be based on the time it is in the city's possession. It says nothing about the labor that's incurred by the city in retrieving the bin.
Okay.
And there's a typo, it should be CITY
No,
apostrophe S.
I caught that, had it changed.
The original draft, before we had, the chair's additions, simply said, if the property owner does not remove the donation bin within 7 business days of the order, the city shall have the right to remove the container at the expense of the property owner. I didn't know if that statement was vague enough to then just accompany what the city considers the
Pursuant,
expense.
and then you could add something like pursuant to, a resolution establishing fees for removal and storage.
Mhm. Yeah, which.
Yeah, that I would
We
recommend.
could add in right now, if we wanted to do that.
Yeah, I like your language with, what I just said.
Well, if we're gonna vote on this, can we get that? Or can we vote on it subject to
Subject to
Or
that
legal
change,
review?
you can, yes.
Okay.
Well, not subject to legal review, it's an ordinance, right?
Yep.
So it can't be subject to my review and changes, I can't unilaterally make those changes, but we did just state on the record what the language should read.
Subject to a resolution, is that what you said?
Yeah, the council would have to issue a resolution for any costs and fees incurred for labor and removal and storing of bins.
Sounded prettier the first time.
It did, yeah.
I can't remember what you said
I wish I
now.
was in court, I would just say, can you read that back to me?
Sorry, I'm not fast enough. I don't. Subject. And for my own knowledge, would this resolution be on a case-by-case basis that the city would set based on every time you'd have to remove one, or would this be?
No, you would set a
unilateral?
resolution that would apply.
For the
It'd be
fees.
like a fee schedule resolution for.
Okay.
You know, and then you can look at it every
Yep.
year, 2 years, 3
Okay.
years and change it.
And we could vote on that resolution next month?
Yeah,
Setting
yeah.
up all the fees and whatever else
Yeah,
needs
a
to
fee
be.
resolution is easy, yeah.
Can I also, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the other thing we talked about was, so if we have to pick up this bin, I don't believe that DPW wants to store this thing forever, or more or less. So if they didn't pick it up within, well, my thought was 15 days, I mean, we could go 30 days, but after that, whatever set time was, if they didn't pick it up or whatever, and I don't know, again, legality wise,
That I would need to research before we add that, because,
Okay.
you know, we're talking about disposing of someone's personal property, and especially property that's protected by First Amendment rights. I would want to spend some time actually
okay,
researching
that's
that
what,
before,
yeah, there was a gray area, I didn't know what the law was on that and so forth.
yeah, I would say, give me some time to research that and put forth some language, or let's see if it even is a problem. I mean, it may just be you send a letter and they take care of it.
That would be nice.
Or send a letter with a release, you know, authorizing us to dispose of this bin.
Okay, that's a thought, I mean, like I said, this is all kind of last minute,
Yeah.
but, and then as far as the fees go, we were thinking of keeping it subject to our fees, like for building permits and so forth, which was, there's a $75 application fee for the, to apply for the dumpster and so forth. It's $75 fee for up to 3 bins. Whether you
I think what we're gonna do is develop that
After?
for next meeting.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Do the fee resolution.
And Bill, that should be based, you should look at what the, you know, average hourly rate plus fringe benefits.
Well, that's what we had spoke about too, because we have picked some up in the past, you know. Rarely is it just 2 guys in a truck going to pick these things up, so, you know, we're bringing, you know, big equipment, either backhoe or skid steer.
And I believe
to be
there's a
able to put it on it.
schedule on the equipment or something.
Yeah,
I
Act
know
51,
Kevin has a
that's what
schedule
we
for the
do.
fire stuff.
Yeah, it's, Act 51 is everything on there, so
Okay.
it's not always the same, so.
So I added in then, subject to a fee resolution passed by the city for any costs and fees incurred from materials, storage, and/or labor.
Start before the subject
Okay,
to.
yep. If the property owner does not remove the donation bin within 7 business days of the order, the city shall have the right to remove the container at the expense of the property owner, subject to a fee resolution passed by the city for any costs and fees incurred from materials, storage, and labor.
Pursuant to instead of subject to.
Pursuant to, okay.
We good?
We're good.
All right, so,
Feels great.
I'll say that.
send it to Madam Clerk.
Yes. Okay.
All right, so we'd be looking for a motion to amend City of Utica zoning ordinance, Article 21, administration and enforcement by adding section 2108 to permit and regulate donation bins in non-residential zoning districts as amended.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Terenzi. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm on page 51, it's the first page of the ordinance definitions. Based on these definitions of what a donation bin is, and then also the organization who's doing it has to be a charitable organization, that little free library in the St. Lawrence neighborhood would have to get removed.
So
That is correct.
Exceptions line at the very bottom.
I think it's letter I.
There was
Yeah.
an exceptions line that I was concerned about.
Yes.
And I raised concern about
I
it.
changed it slightly from when you raised the concern. So right now it's stating, notwithstanding the above regulation of this article, any nonprofit or municipal organization located in a residential or office district that engages in the collection of goods and materials as part of its organizational mission may maintain 2 accessory collection bins on its own building site. All such collection containers must obtain approval from the city and shall adhere to the standards of this article.
So the only thing I don't like about that is you obtain approval from the city, and what are the standards
The
for
same
that
as
approval?
these. They would be, and I can reword it, but they would, basically it's allowing, because right now we're only allowing the donation bins in commercial and industrial. So this would allow for them in residential districts like St. Lawrence, or your city-owned properties are zoned R1B if you're a nonprofit or a municipal organization.
Right, but that isn't. So
This-
that would
The
still.
library isn't municipal?
But that little free library, no, that's just,
Well, that's part of St. Lawrence Church.
I don't think it is.
No,
It's
not
on-
at St. Lawrence.
It's on
No?
Davis Street
Yeah.
and Nichols.
yeah,
It's on the corner of Davis and Nichols.
that's whatever that apartment or.
That's
whatever company-
Communicare, that's Communicare's
They
property.
put that up.
Yeah, so that would have to get torn out.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to cover as much as we could with still, because we know, like, Catholic, like, the schools, and municipalities will have these bins, so that's why I had the exception in
Yeah.
there. Because otherwise, if we didn't have that, St. Lawrence, Trinity,
And-
all those places would have.
And
be
honestly,
forced to
with that
remove them.
exception, I mean, it's a double-sided sword. With that exception, if you're running a nonprofit out of your house, you're now allowed to have 2 bins.
Yes,
at
that
your
is
house.
true. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine either way, but I just
Yeah.
know you're gonna have problems with the schools and potentially your own municipality or
Right.
businesses, like, if you don't allow them. It's what is unfortunate about them being zoned residential, right?
Right.
So, we came to the same thing with the sign ordinance when we were trying to permit signs, and residential doesn't allow
Yeah.
monument signs and things like that, so.
Yeah, and this is all case law that's developed since
Mhm.
2015, it looks like. So there is a lot of unknowns in this area right now.
Could it be as simple as adding to that exception that library donation, what do they, little libraries, I don't know what the formal.
No, then it
Are
becomes
exempted?
content-based, which is contrary to First Amendment.
I think technically I think they call it a food pantry, no one puts food in there. It's only books, but it's like a
Well,
little
every
free
now and then
food
you see a
pantry.
can of beans.
Yeah.
Could you implement like a lot size requirement that would basically prohibit it from being on a residential lot? Do you know what I mean? Like, we'd have to look into it a little bit more, but minimum size or something that you
Like a
could
time,
adhere to
that
the
would be a time,
setbacks.
place, and manner.
Yeah.
Could it be a
I would
zoning
recommend
concern?
that over anything else.
Could it be a zoning?
Well, we are talking zoning right now.
So when we're talking donation bins, I'm thinking like the big clothes bins. You guys are talking like the library, the little book
It's like this big.
case. Could it be as simple as, like she said, size-wise? Making, what the bins are normally 4 foot wide, 8 foot high, whatever the case may be, as opposed to a book bin where it's,
2 feet.
yeah, 3
Yeah.
by 2 or something.
I mean, that would be
box.
another way to regulate time, place, and manner, is just to say anything under a certain size is allowed, period.
Square footage of the box.
Yeah.
Because some of the other ones you see donations, they're
cubic
like
footage of the
2.5, 3
container.
by the same, 4 feet tall.
I'm not worried about the little book box.
Yeah.
It's the clothing ones that are cause us problems.
And then those are also, to your point, those are inaccessible, right? So you can't, with people, those little library thing, people are coming in and out of those, right?
Yeah.
Whereas those bins,
'Cause
God
there's
only
also
knows
one of
what's
the
in
book
those.
places on one of the side streets in somebody's front yard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, those bins are covered under this under this definition of donation bin.
Well, it sounds like this needs to go back to planning again.
Do you need a motion to postpone?
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion.
So we want to think about perhaps setting a minimum size, that would be an exception. If it fell below a certain square footage, it would be not
I
be
mean, a book bin
regulated by this
is
ordinance.
3 foot if that, so.
Because right now in
2.5
E7,
by 2 by
Yeah.
so deep, so you could be 7.5 square feet, 8 square feet.
And allowing,
Cubic
in residential on lots over a certain
Certain
size.
size, yep.
yeah, because in E7, we set a maximum size,
We did, yeah.
but not a minimum allowable
No.
size.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
We don't need a motion on that, right?
No.
All right, we'll get it right.
Sooner or later.
Another month, that's okay.
Wrenches.
Sorry.
And we can bring that resolution at the same time as.
We have a motion on the table right now.
What is the motion?
The motion was to amend this, it was brought by Sikora and seconded by Terenzi.
So can I,
We can all
I would
vote no,
recommend
or?
rescinding
I
the
would like to
motion.
rescind
that's
my
fine.
motion.
Who seconded it?
Terenzi,
Okay.
You never voted, so you both rescinded it.
correct.
All
Okay.
right, for the record, Mayor Pro Tem Sikora and Councilwoman Terenzi rescinded their motions. All right. Next on the agenda, department reports. I will start things off.
Do you want a motion to send it back to planning?
Do we need to have a motion for that?
I mean,
don't
ultimately,
think
it's
we
your
need a mo-
decision on the.
I don't think we need a
ordinance.
motion on that.
Service budget amendment.
I mean, it's up to you if you want it to go back to planning, or you can just make the changes and then bring it back to council. So,
Because planning is just a recommending body, so planning has recommended approval. You have changes you want to make to it. So do you want it to go back to planning, or do you want it just to
Let's
come
let it go
here?
back to planning.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to refer this back to planning.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Terenzi. Any discussion from council? I think it's better to let planning, you know, we don't want to undercut what the hard work they do for us. And if we just make changes without them being able to provide their feedback, yeah.
We still got IT services.
Yeah, mine isn't in
Um,
here. Madam Clerk, I believe we need to take a vote on that.
Sikora?
Yes.
Terenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Going back to planning. And one of the items we did add to the agenda is Roman numeral 5D1, which is the fiscal year 2025 IT services budget. I believe Mr. Paternoster is going to lead us through that. We have to give him a minute to get in from, he's also our cable TV operator.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you a recommendation from myself to amend the fiscal year 2025 general fund budget to increase a number of general ledger accounts for IT services. As you may recall, the city of Utica changed its IT service provider in March of 2024. And for accounting purposes, the fees charged by the IT service vendor were moved from the GL account ending with 731-010 to an account ending with 850-010. The fees for IT services are allocated to each department using the services based on the number of users in that department. The fiscal year 2025 budgets were determined using the standard monthly fee assessed by our IT service provider without adequately anticipating billable hours that might arise. As of December 31, 2024, a review of the expenditures revealed that the fiscal year 2025 budget did not include sufficient appropriations to cover the standard monthly fee plus the billable hours that we have experienced. Consequently, the department heads were asked to project their IT service expenditures through the end of fiscal year 2025 and identify what amount the appropriations must be amended. I've included a accompanying schedule identifying the accounts that need to be amended, and I am asking council to move to amend the fiscal year '25 general fund budget and the building code enforcement fund budget and the sewer and water fund budget, as all three of these funds are affected by the IT services. Increasing assessing by $110, increasing the police budget by $310, increasing the street department by $400, increasing the building code enforcement fund by $600.
I'll make a motion to adopt the changes to the budget as outlined in the letter from our treasurer dated 2/7/25.
Motion by Sikora, support by Terenzi. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paternoster. And now on to department reports.
Nope, you also amended the agenda to include the.
Oh, that's right.
Marijuana.
There are a lot of amendments, a lot of
Right.
last-minute things.
So, Mayor and Council, I apologize for getting this to everyone late. I actually thought we were just gonna wait till next month. It came in at, I think, 4:40 on Wednesday, our deadline being right around that time. As you know, there has been one appeal filed on the award of marijuana licenses most recently. I do want to clarify on the AIS. The AIS says, it says, due to appeals brought pursuant to the marijuana business ordinance, the city needs to retain a hearing officer. The ordinance says, quote, may appeal to the city clerk, who shall appoint a hearing officer to hear and evaluate the appeal and make a recommendation to the city clerk. Then the city council shall review and recommend and make the recommendation and make a decision. So really, the only purpose of this agenda item summary is to budget for the continued retention of Mr. Richard Albright, who was our hearing officer when Golden Rockies and Chris Aiello were doing their appeal. We're going to continue using him. We were successful in that, by the way, on New Year's Eve. We got that award. We have a motion to amend the fiscal year 2025 budget GL numbers 101-226-695-000-M as in Mary, FAUT as in Tom, I, and 101-266-826-010-M as in Mary, FAUT as in Tom, I, increasing both by $2,000. The money is covered by the application fees as well.
I'll make a motion to do all that.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Terenzi. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. All right. My third try. I think I'm getting it right. Department reports. I will start things out. First, I'd like to congratulate Superintendent Diamond on the birth of his first grandbaby. Little Henry Williams, welcome to the world.
Congratulations.
And I'd also like to thank the DPW crew. They've been pretty busy lately. We had a water main break and snow, and I know they're gonna snow, a couple issues where they had to plow snow, and I think we got a big day coming tomorrow. So I know they're gonna be working hard, keeping us all safe.
One last one for Ricky Smith.
Yeah. Hopefully it's your last plow day.
Forget about Saturdays too, because there's more for Saturday.
More for Saturday?
Two more coming.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, that's really all I have. Anyone else from council? All right. Nothing from assessing. Mr. Hicks? Anything from building? Ms. Francis, anything from the library? Chief Olsbeck.
Yes, Mayor and Council, we have on our fire engine purchase. At our regular council meeting on September 12, 2023, the council approved acceptance of FEMA grant EMW 2022-FG-08163 for the purchase of a fire engine at a cost of $825,000, and subsequently approved an amendment to the FY 2024 budget of an additional $24,000. Delivery of the vehicle was delayed until July of 2024, necessitating the purchase to be included in the FY 2025 budget. However, the purchase was entered into the budget at the original amount of $825,000 rather than the amended amount of $849,000. Consequently, an amendment to the FY 2025 budget in the amount of $24,000 is necessary. So my action is suggested as a motion of council to amend FY 2025 Fire Department budget, increasing the $24,000 account in 101-336-986-000-F08163, vehicle purchase with the funds coming from the general fund unassigned fund balance.
I'll make that motion to approve that.
Motion by Terenzi.
Support.
Support by O'Donnell. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you,
Anything
Mayor.
else for us tonight, Chief?
No, it's with the big snow's coming, supposedly. Just please keep your hydrants clear and don't pile snow around them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Kaluzny.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just have one item for you this evening. It's a request for budget amendments to the fiscal year 2025 budget. The good thing about this is they are offsetting revenue and expenses. So not coming and asking for any more money, just coming to offset the two items. So the first one is our MCOLS, the state licensing organization for police officers, passed a law, and they're doing a pilot program for continued professional education. So what they're trying to do is not only set standards, but increase education for police officers. So with this, we get a certain amount of money that's used for training, and we have certain core classes and stuff that we have to do. So what I'm looking for is to amend that budget, requesting a motion to amend the 2023 PA1 CPE revenue account 101-301-574-231 by $19,500, and the expenditure account 101-301-709-231 by $19,500. And this is actually a combination of 2024 and 2025 money that we received from the state.
So would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion by Terenzi, support by Dion. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. And your next item, Chief?
Next item, this is for our festival contributions to our contractual services. When we're having the runs, closing down the roadways and stuff, we've been shifting the burden from the taxpayers onto the organizations coming in. So what I'd be looking for is to adjust my budget for the revenue that's coming in or the expenses that we're charging versus the expenses that we're paying out for the police officers. So I'd be looking to request to amend our festival contributions revenue account, and that's 101-301-626-001 by $15,000, and the expenditure account 101-301-709-002 overtime contractual services by $15,000.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Terenzi, support by Sikora. Any discussion? Just for clarification, as promised last budget season, when we discovered things were a little bit uncontrolled and we found ourselves at the end of the budget season where certain single line items had they were in the red. Although the overall budget was fine. So what I told you at that time was I was going to start doing quarterly reviews with budget amendments, when we discovered that individual line items, were exceeding what they should. And that didn't have to be at 100%, we're at the halfway mark of the year right now. So you're gonna see this month, you're gonna see probably next month, some budget amendments to clean up our GLs, our general ledger. So, in case you're wondering, why am I hearing all these budget amendments? That's why, we're trying to make our budget, accurate, reallocating where necessary, the budget, in most cases, we're not over budget on the whole, but there are some individual line items that, were in the red, so we're just cleaning up things and trying to be more diligent. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Anything else tonight?
Yes, a couple things. First off, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Ricky Smith on his dedication to the city and his retirement that's upcoming here. I've known Rick my whole time here. I can tell you, he always comes to the department, smile on his face, just very jovial, ready to get going. It's really been an honor to work with you and have you around. I know he's well respected at our department and stuff, so he's definitely gonna be missed by the city, but congratulations, and I wish you the best.
I'm noticing his smile is even bigger than normal tonight. Has anyone else noticed that? He always smiles, but tonight it's like.
Close.
One other thing, I received notification with outgoing State Rep Nate Shannon, kind of in the last thing that he did before he left office. He put our city in for there was a grant that we submitted through his office for a mobile vehicle barrier system. So what those are actually hardened barriers that are designed to stop vehicles from entering areas and stuff. And if anybody's seen what happened in New Orleans and stuff, kind of after the fact, they kind of brought some of those barriers out. So we received $200,000, and this is a grant that Nate Shannon, State Rep Nate Shannon had put in for us that we received. There's zero out-of-pocket matching. Just had the webinar this morning, or yesterday on it, and we should be receiving the grant documents in the next couple weeks. So hopefully next council meeting, I'll be bringing that to you, and look forward to purchasing something to really make our events and our city a lot safer and stuff.
That's great.
Coming in,
Yeah.
so,
That's
yeah,
really
it's really, really good.
I believe we got 20 barricades, right?
Yep, we should be able to afford about 20 of them. The company that I'm looking at is gonna come do a demo of them during our Lucky Leprechaun race. So they're gonna come down, kinda set them up there, so we'll kinda get a first kinda look at them, and hopefully be able to get them early spring into summertime.
Perfect.
So,
That's great news.
Great.
That's
That
cool.
was a pleasant surprise.
yep.
That would be great for events like the.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Thank you, Chief.
yep, thank
Can
you.
you use them to keep people in? Just thinking around your house.
We'll try.
You're actually, I got them already to keep you out.
Superintendent Diamond.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Mayor, thank you for the nice remarks about being a grandparent. It is incredible, I must say. I miss him. I wish I was with him. So
Why didn't you bring them?
That's true.
It's gonna
Mom
be
and
the
Dad definitely
quickest
wouldn't let.
summary you've
Yeah.
ever
Mom and
given.
Dad. What's that?
It's gonna be the quickest summary you've ever given.
I know, right? I have three things for you today. The first one would be for downtown beautification. To bring back some needed beautification to our downtown district, the purchase and installation of hanging potted flowers along Cass and Auburn and the City Hall, Police and Fire Department lots are being requested. Funds were budgeted for in fiscal year '25, and 3 quotes were received. You have them Joe Cucci came out with the least expensive price at $117 each. All of the prices reflect purchasing new Labor Saver hanging baskets, which will require watering only 2 to 3 times per week, and requiring just the purchase of potted flowers moving forward. So we'll have to find a good place to store them at DPW, but it will definitely save money moving forward. And if we decide to do Van Dyke as well. Mayor and I discussed and thought, let's get downtown looking nice again with the flowers. The motion for city council to approve the purchase of hanging potted flowers from Joe Cucci and Sons for $117 each to be installed along Cass and Auburn in City Hall, Police, and Fire Department lots, 50 in total, not to exceed $8,000 from the Street Department Beautification Fund, 101-441-967-200.
So moved.
Make that motion.
Yep, support.
Motion by Torenzi, support by Dion. Any discussion from
In this
council?
first year, that's the pot and the flower?
Yes.
And then in the future, we just buy the flowers?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
And I say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Bread too.
Pots are about 75 and the flowers about 42. I think that's what they were at.
It took us a few years to get to the point,
Back.
but we're there.
I mean, in reality, we actually got back pretty quick. I mean, it's
2 years.
just been a couple years. Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next one is a private source donation. As we all know, the Utica Lions Club generously made a donation to the DPW for $250, which the DPW intends to use towards purchasing vehicle equipment maintenance items. A budget amendment is required to accept and distribute the funds for use. So I'm looking for council to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 budget amendment for $250, increasing private source donation accounts 101-441-674-000 for $100, 101-751-674-000 for $50, and 592-000-674-000 for $100, and vehicle maintenance accounts 101-441-868 000 for $100, 101-751-868 000 for $50, and 592-536-868-000 for $100.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by O'Donnell, support by Torenzi. Any discussion from council?
Those lions are great.
Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
The third agenda item is the Iron Bell Trail Bridge project. The Iron Bell Trail Bridge, also known as Davis Street Bridge, was constructed in 1995 by the Michigan Department of Transportation as part of the M59 project. The existing abutments date back to the late 1800s. Following its closure for repairs and maintenance, rehabilitation work was undertaken. An assessment was conducted in 2020 with preliminary construction cost estimates provided by HRC in both 2021 and 2023, which included the immediate and near future recommendations. State and federal grants have been secured to evaluate and support funding for the bridge replacement. I recommend that we engage our engineering firm, HRC, to advance this project. And they are doing the initial estimates for free. Once this gets approved tonight, if it does, then next month we'll bring back the engineering costs so we can get the proper monies from the state and federal grants. And one will pay for engineering fees, the other will not. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we're able to use the engineering fees for the one. So I'm looking for a motion for city council to approve the engineering services of HRC for design, administration, construction, and observation to move forward with the Iron Bell Trail Bridge project.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Torenzi. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Just a short list. We did have two new employees start for the DPW. One was on February 3rd. His name is Dallas Ciccone. He comes from us from Murray Underground, so he has a knowledge of water main repair. And the second employee started this past Monday, February 10th. His name's Eric Dix. He has history with sprinkler systems and snow plowing, so a little bit of mix of both of them. So we got some good candidates, and I think Rick can attest that so far so good. They're meshing well with the group, which was my number one thing that I wanted to make sure. We had 3 emergency service line replacements due to some broken lines. Fortunately enough, these were on our list for replacement. They were all galvanized. So D'Angelo Brothers, who has our contract for lead service lines, were able to come in and do those emergency replacement for us. So it was real nice that they were able to come in, handle these, and it will be put toward our list that we are knocking out. We do have about 20 service lines in queue right now, waiting to go. We're kind of waiting for the weather. D'Angelo is kind of hoping this storm will pass and we can start to get a little bit better, so mobility will be a lot easier. The sewer lining project, we're waiting for the next pay estimate, but there will be funds available to hopefully do a few more sewer lines, getting them repaired. The DVM that did it did a great job, and look forward to having them come back if that's what we so choose to do. As Mayor mentioned, we did have a water main break since last council meeting. That was on McKay. We had a curb stop replacement today on River Vista, and we also have a hydrant out on the corner of the southeast corner of Davis and River Vista, which dispatch has been notified along with police and fire, so they're aware of it. We're ready, everything's prepped for snow. Rick was working on our plows. We haven't really had to use the plows too often this year, more salt. So Rick spent a day out there in the yard getting our plows ready for our big rigs. Huh? The big front ones, yep. And then the heaters were installed that you approved last council meeting, so we appreciate that. And Councilwoman Trenzi, I'd like to thank you for the donuts that you brought us a couple of weeks ago, so appreciate that.
Yeah, I brought them to you guys too. I brought them to everybody. I brought them to you guys too.
But I was the only one that thanked.
Probably was the only one that ate them.
That's it for me, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond. Nothing from the treasurer tonight. Madam Clerk.
It wasn't to my part yet, but I was going to thank her for the donuts too. It was very kind. I will say for our treasurer, I believe our winter taxes are due February 28th. So I know it's always a fun thing to hear. So, but on the agenda, Mayor and Council, I do have election equipment budget amendment. I appreciate the mayor allowing me to add it, as this is a grant, a federal election security grant that will give us $1,000 to use. I would like to use it to purchase a new laptop for election purposes. The current one that we have is pretty outdated. It has Windows 10, which Microsoft support is ending October 14th of this year. So we will need at least one laptop which has Windows 11 Professional on it. I did reach out to our IT company, SBS, and they gave 3 quotes for a Dell Latitude 2550 model, and theirs was the lowest quote for $850. So I'm looking for 2 motions. The first to authorize me to purchase a laptop for elections not to exceed $1,000.
So moved.
Motion by Trenzi.
Support.
Support by Sikora. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Sikora?
Yes.
Chirenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. This doesn't have a match to it as well. This is just, I have up to $1,000 and then they reimburse it. I forgot to mention that. My second motion is to amend fiscal year 2020 25 budget, GL 101-262-528-00025 FESG, and GL 101-262-981-00025 FESG, increasing both by $1,000.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Dion, support by Terenzi. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
All right. Thank you very much. That is all I have.
Thank you so much. Parks and Rec, Lori was not able to make it tonight. She did ask us to mention a couple things. Do you happen to have her email here?
Ms. Lori Smith says she's sorry she couldn't make it, but she would like to thank the Lions Club for their generous donation to the Parks and Rec. And to thank Amanda for all her hard work getting the Parks and Recreation plan together, and City Council for their approval of the plan.
Excellent. Nothing from Historic. Ms. McGreal, anything for us?
No, I just want to congratulate Ricky Smith. You said 1998, and I thought I was a practicing lawyer for 2 years of that time in my dad's office when he was negotiating against probably you back then.
I took over my position in the union about a month after I started here, and I've had it ever since.
Yeah, so congratulations, enjoy.
Excellent. All right, the floor is now open for any communication from the public for any item at all. Does not have to be anything that was on the agenda. Since there's no one from the public that wants to speak to council, I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by O'Donnell,
Support.
support by Terenzi. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi?
Yes.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
Backus? Weaver?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.